Jesus Christ, you people suck.
Wow. Wolverine wanted to be in it.
Back in the days when we played video games, it was hardcore for the nerdy and lazy. Now things have changed and all our video games are also for the casual and lady.
But that's okay, you know the score. We told you a million times before. Playing consoles, not just games, is in the past. And every week you listen to the best damn internet radio crew. It's the N4G podcast. It's the N4G podcast.
Alright, it's time! Another week of N4G Radio. This is episode 673 for October 25th, 2021. As many years as we've been doing this, and this is technically our spooky episode, because next week we'll record on Halloween, but it'll go live on November 1st.
Spooky.
Spooky, spooky. We do have a spooky email, so that's good. On the show this week we have the Wombat. And we got Anthony.
Yeah, I'm here too.
That's not spooky.
Yeah, well.
To be fair, being here is kind of spooky.
That's true. That's very true. Oh, alright. I guess we can just hop right into the video games. Anthony, do you want to go first? Because Drew's not here, because we got to send him a special spooky birthday.
It is his birthday today.
It's his birthmas. Happy birthmas, Drew.
Happy born day.
You were born
I already
this
said
day
that.
like 600 years ago.
He's younger than both of us.
I know he is. Speaking of younger than everybody, Anthony, you want to talk about video games?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with I'll talk about them in the order I played them, I guess. So Eternal Cylinder. I wrote my review for that. Ace Team, I think, really outdid themselves with this game. It really leans into what Ace Team is good at, which is some really messed up visuals. But I think it's just more interesting that it's a survival game that doesn't let you hunker down in one spot. Because a lot of survival games, the idea is that you automate everything the further you go along, right? Like, you essentially make all these small tasks that are difficult in the beginning, you make those easier for you as time goes on. Well, because this giant cylinder crushes everything in its path, and you need to keep moving forward, which activates the cylinder rolling again, because it does stop temporarily. And usually it's not timed. Sometimes it feels like it is. But because of that, you're constantly kind of fighting against the elements as these little aliens called tribums. They've got two legs and they're a little snout, and they're the only thing that's remotely cute looking in this gigantic world of like nightmare fuel. Because the creatures are really alien, as is the landscape. But then you see the servants of the cylinder, and they're some of my favorite enemy designs, but they're also some of the most messed up enemy designs I've ever seen.
I mean, that's an Ace Team thing.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. Like, it really feeds into the best part of that company. Because, if you've ever seen Xenoclash, a game I have not played, but I've seen.
Oh wow, you've never played either of the Xenoclashes?
No, I saw the graphics and I went, I don't know into this. And of course, I'm like, okay, you would definitely be into the whatever the fuck's going on in that game.
Xenoclash is one of the most interesting games, not just visually, but like the mechanics of that game are super interesting.
It's a first-person fighting game, basically.
Yeah, and it's a lot deeper than you think it is.
And there's a new one on the way, which is third person, just called Clash, I believe.
Yeah, I saw
It's got
the
a subtitle.
third person.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
linked
you
it
sent
to
me
you.
that. Yeah.
But the Eternal Cylinder, man, at first I thought it was just going to be like a very basic concept, but then it starts pouring the lore into it, and it's like you're running into these old tray bums that are like unable to move now, and they're just kind of accepting their fate that they couldn't stop the cylinder. And I mean, the cylinder destroys everything, so you're moving forward and leaving these old aliens of the same species behind, and so you know they're dead. And you can watch, if you get far enough ahead, you can watch the cylinder run things down and like brush them under the path. Like the amount of scale in this game. And I'm playing on an original Xbox, and I did notice some slowdown, but I also was leaving it on like suspend, which doesn't close the game. So when I just would turn off the console. So when I closed the game and started up, that issue was gone. So I didn't even bring it up because I'm like, this is clearly my fault. I've noticed that with some suspense stuff that it just eventually you run out of like resources.
Yeah, it's probably cached too much in the memory.
Yeah. So, but the amount of scale. So the cylinder is wider than you can see, and the world, follows it, because the idea is the cylinder is as big or bigger than the world. But then just some of the other alien species that are there, and some of the like you activate these monuments to stop the cylinder temporarily, and everything's just big. And the tray bums, I know I keep calling them that, but I don't have another word for them. That's what they're called.
Let's call them
are very
tribbles.
small. I'm not calling them tribbles. It's something completely different.
I know.
They're very small and kind of fodder for the world. And then there's one servant. They call him the mathematician, which is one of my favorite enemy designs ever. He's gigantic, like legitimately huge. It's Shadow of the Colossus differences, and that's not something I see a lot in video games. And it was an experience, because I'm like not a huge survival game fan. I like them, but they're not like the thing I gravitate to. But the constant moving forward and having to figure out actual puzzles, and having to make sure that like party, because you start to build up like a party of these little alien critters, and the thing that makes them special is that they can sort of adapt on the fly by what they eat. And so you start building a party up, and you're giving each of them different powers, because it doesn't make sense to give them all the same power. And so, like, I have one that's constantly processing minerals into the currency that you can use to level up, and another one can breathe fire, and the one I use when I'm running to the next monolith to stop the cylinder, because as soon as you start the cylinder rolling, you don't want to be caught underneath it, and it's like a run for the next one. The tray bums can roll, which is basically their run. And so I'd have one that had like 4 legs, because that's an adaptation you can get, because having 4 legs somehow makes you faster. I'm not going to question it. And it's fascinating, because there's some platforming elements to this game, which could be a little tighter, but they're not terrible, especially when it's not the main focus. And I can't believe how much work was put into this. They call it an open world, and I don't necessarily want to use that language, because yes, it's a lot of open space, and there is some randomness to when the cylinder will actually stop. But you have these little areas to explore, and you want to kind of do certain things in those areas before you start the cylinder up again, because there's like a little barrier, and when you cross that barrier, that's when the cylinder starts again. You can visibly see it, and it's not really open world then. Like, yes, then between the safe areas, there's big open spaces, and you'll miss stuff in there because you can't stop to experiment, with the environment. But I really enjoyed this game, and like the story that's happening is very weird, but not nonsensical. And just all the aliens, and as you get closer and closer to the end, like things get weirder and weirder. And I know I've missed stuff. Eventually, you have to permanently activate upgrades, because all the servants of the cylinder have these yellow lights that remove all the changes you've made to your characters, which makes things very difficult. But if you've permanently activated them, the yellow light doesn't do anything. And it's something kind of special that I don't see a lot. Like a game that really set out and had clear goals for itself and met them. Because there was definitely a way that this could have fallen apart with all the elements that it has. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. Then I played Untitled, which I mentioned that I had bought. Man, combat in that game feels really good. I'm not super far into it, but I just love the graphics and the combat. It's great. It reminds me of the graphics kind of remind me of the first time you leave in A Link to the Past when the rain is happening. It's not identical. It doesn't look like that, but it reminds me of that because it's just like, oh, there's an attention to detail here.
What is
There's
this
something
game?
special.
You said it was Unsighted?
Unsighted. It's
Unsighted.
on Game Pass.
Oh, yeah. This is the isometric pixel RPG.
Yeah, it's an action RPG that they say it's inspired by Dark Souls. I'm gonna assume it's because the combat's a little bit more deliberate. You can't just keep swinging your sword or the character gets tired, but I don't know, it's pretty gracious on the amount of stamina you have, and you can increase that too with like chips that you put on your character, which reminds me of Battle Network, which is a good thing. Yeah, and it's apparently on a time limit, like to reach certain characters. But we'll see how that plays out for me the first time through. If I really hate it, I can go into the Explorer mode, which is the same story, but doesn't have a time limit.
Oh, so you can make harder games accessible. Oh.
Yeah,
the internet would lead me to believe that was not possible.
And this is an indie team of like, I want to say like 4 people all together, but it's 2 actual women programming it, and I think they had like somebody do the music and a little bit of art. But I can't recall. It's small. Like I know that it's two people mainly. So
Studio is called Studio Pixel Punk.
Thank you. And then I played some Far Cry 5 while I waited for a game to download, because shooting things is fun, and I just kind of needed something that was not turn my brain off. And whatever. I was like, yeah, I have Far Cry 5. I bought it for a completely different reason, which was just to play the fan-made GoldenEye levels. Oh, I forgot. So that first game I talked about was Eternal Cylinder. Then it was Unsighted. Unsighted is a definite recommend. Eternal Cylinder is a look at it, and if you don't think it's going to be your jam, don't play it.
You really kind of, I almost feel like you kind of know what Ace Team is before you go into one of their games.
And if you don't, I mean, take a look at Eternal Cylinder. That's on the more tame end of things.
Yeah, well,
I
that
think-
and Abyss Odyssey was
Well,
tamer
Abyss
than-
Odyssey and Deadly Tower of Monsters are pretty tame. Like those are probably their most accessible stuff, and then it's Rock of Ages is a little weird, but still accessible. And then we start getting into their other stuff. So yeah, I played some Far Cry 5 because I was waiting for Earth Atlantis to download. Earth Atlantis was when when Drew and I did the Phoenix Down of like hidden gems. Dustin mentioned Earth Atlantis as Metroidvania, which I don't disagree with. It's a weird game. It's its own thing. But I don't know if Metroidvania is the best way to describe it. But I don't know if there's another term to describe it. So Earth Atlantis, if you look at it in still images and even in small like little video clips, it comes off like it's all 2D art, but it's actually it's actually 3D and it looks like an old map. Everything is like a sepia tone, and the Earth has flooded, and the goal is to fight these gigantic robot sea creatures. You're in a little sub, and it plays like an old school shooter, except that you have like you can just kind of go anywhere rather than being on a track. And you have a little radar that tells you where the next boss fight is, and then you make your way there. But you don't really use any abilities to unlock new areas. And you have like a sub, and you can power up the attack that sub does, and then there's a sub weapon which you can change out based on what pickup you have. So there's like a homing missile, there's a torpedo, there's one where it's electricity, so anything that kind of gets within a certain range gets zapped, but you have to have enough of the power up, because so when you collect the power ups constantly, like any other space shooter, it levels up another level. So electricity, if you want another arc of electricity, you need to have so many power ups of the same type. And then there's like a bomb that you can shoot that bounces places. And this is only with the first sub. I didn't actually finish my run. I died against like the 4th or 5th boss. It starts off pretty easy, and then the difficulty ramps up pretty quick. But I kind of like the fact that you're exploring around, and like the backgrounds are so well done, because at first I was like, okay, so it's just this big sort of like open world under the water, and then and it's not a spoiler because it's in the screenshots they actually give out. I'm going around, and there's the Statue of Liberty underwater in the background, and like looking at these 3D models move, it's really neat. You don't actually get to when you're controlling your sub, you actually have to hit a button to turn around, not just point the other way, so you can actually move backwards while shooting forwards and everything. It's a really neat game, and like I don't know if it's like I'm looking at the Steam page while I talk about it. I don't think it's $18 worth of cool. But it was on sale on PSN. I think I paid $4 because I'm Canadian for it. But yeah, it's definitely worth that price. Like, $5 or under. It's pretty fun. And that's Earth Atlantis. And that's it for me. I wanted to play more this week, but it just didn't happen.
All right. Well, then I will move on to the Wombat.
I didn't play anything. I didn't play anything.
Okay.
No, I really genuinely, the only thing I played is Yakuza 0, and I didn't even really play that much of it. So, a good 28, 29 hours in to it, chapter 11 of 17, and I'm just trying to get through it because I've started it and I want to finish it.
So how do you feel
So
like as much as you've played, would you want to jump right into the next one, or are you going to need a break?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna need a break. I'm really digging it, and I'll say 15 hours ago, I thought, man, I can't wait to play the next one after this. But now at almost 30 hours in, I'm good. So I'll finish this one off probably another 10 hours from now, and then I'll put it away for a while and play some of the stuff that I haven't played since I started playing this. So I was going through, and I think I've only played 3 games that came out this year. So I got some work to do before Game of the Year.
I was going to say, yeah, you got to at least play 10 so you can make a list.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's happening.
Drew will say otherwise.
I know.
Drew always has stuff that he just played that was old on his list.
That's my entire life. So I do at least want to play Psychonauts before the end of the year. So that's next on my list after I finish this off.
That's a good palate cleanser. That game is just fun from the minute you boot it up to the time you finish it. It's a great game.
Yeah, and then I've got the 2 Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLCs that I need to finish too.
Oh yeah, isn't there a third one on the way too?
Maybe, I don't know. Probably.
Seems we're due for another Assassin's Creed DLC. I think they do 3 every time, 2 or 3.
Usually. So, yeah. Anyhow, that's really it. I haven't played anything else. I really just haven't had the time to play anything else. I've been pretty busy. So, this time during the podcast is really about the only time I get to play anything anymore. So,
well, we're glad to oblige. You can catch up on games for next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a quick interruption before you go into yours, Ken. Earth Atlantis is on sale on Switch for like Canadian $2.62. So I'm sure American it's like $2.
American. Fuck yeah. Alright. I'll run through the indie games real quick because I do have a couple big games to talk about this week. Retro Highway. So when I saw the video of this game, I got excited. It looks like an old school NES, like a Rad Racer or something like that. But this is a straight up mobile game where you're constantly driving. You're on a motorcycle. It's 2D. You're on a motorcycle, and it's constantly going. And the objective is you kind of weave in and out of traffic, collect coins, do stunts, jump over stuff. And it's all run-based, kind of like an outrun. Like, how far can you get on this biome? How many coins can you collect before you crash? And every time you crash, you use the coins to continue, and it gets more and more expensive every time you crash. It's one of those games I played once, and I think I was good. Like, I didn't really want to play it anymore. The next game is Ghoul Boy. And as I was going through these games, I was like, I have to go back and remember what Ghoul Boy is because I've played a lot of side-scroll. It's a side-scrolling action game, similar to like a Ghosts and Goblins. It even has kind of like the same kind of music that's playing while you're playing. It's got good. It feels good to play. It's got a good look to it. But again, like everything else, it gets lost in a sea of a billion other games that are exactly like it. It's also very challenging, like Ghosts and Goblins. Not 2 hits and you're dead, Ghosts and Goblins difficult, but it's not much beyond that. So, interesting. There's a lot of mobile games making their way to consoles now. Zombo Buster Rising, which, Anthony, I think we might have a new Ratalaika, or at least a Ratalaika parallel, because I feel like I play a game from this company every week as well. It's a publisher called Chili Dog Interactive.
I've never heard of that.
I feel like I play one of their games every week.
Chili Dog Interactive.
And it's like Ratalaika. They're publishing a lot of really small independent games, and this one I played this week was Zombo Buster Rising. It is a tower defense, kind of like a PvZ, where you're on like an overpass, and there are zombies moving towards your entranceway, and then you've got to shoot them. The mechanic is like you move the cursor around on the screen with the left stick, and then you press the button to shoot, and obviously the button presses are timed. In between, you can buy upgrades in between levels, so you can shoot faster, have turrets, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I've decided to look up this company. It looks like they actually do the porting work for
Okay.
a lot of this stuff, and then get to publish it because they're the porter.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like
Um,
I boot a game up from them at least once a week.
Yeah, like the only game I like actually know that they've published, and they didn't publish it on PC, is Do Not Feed the Monkeys. They published that on Xbox, but it looks like everything else that they did for the most part is a port and then a publish to consoles.
Yep. They've got a great logo, by the way. If you ever play one of their games when it boots up, it's a great logo.
Is it the little demon chili dog
The
thing?
two-sided demon chili dog. It's like the music and the animation that plays is really good. It's a lot better than the stupid Ratalaika dog. I hate the Ratalaika dog. So dumb. The next game I played is Tony and Clyde, which is a game that feels like it wants to be Hotline Miami, and it's just not that. Like a top-down isometric shooter where you're going through different levels. I really wasn't feeling it. It's got some different mechanics from stuff like Hotline Miami, and it's more of a twin-stick shooter. It does have some stealth where you can sneak up on people and kill them. There's just something about the way it controls and the camera angle work. Like the camera gets behind things a lot, to where you can't see your character even though there's an outline. It's not as defined as it should be. And I did like the 70s vibe of it, but like when you're playing the game, you get this very much a sense of like, here's a bunch of default Unity assets that we use to make this game. And I don't know, it just didn't feel good.
It's always disappointing because it's like clearly we didn't use the assets the way they're supposed to be used.
Yeah.
Because I listened to, this was long ago, but before Firewatch, or like just as Firewatch came out, they were honest with the fact that like they weren't going to make everything, that they were going to buy things that were already made. So I believe some of the birds in Firewatch were like bought, but they hide that through like how they, like if it's just going to be a silhouette, they hide that by making the silhouette. So yeah, they don't blend in technically, but you can't tell as a player. It's like when I see like janky combinations, I'm like, why? Just hide this like by using filters and stuff. Do something. Yeah.
Yep. So I definitely kind of felt that with this game. Oh, I actually see the new Xbox website. I have not seen that yet. Looks like the app. The next game I played was the one I was most excited to play, and I know we talked about this game last week. It's the Bats Bloodsucker Anti-Terror Squad. I gotta say I was a little disappointed when I started playing it. It looks cool, and I like that you're playing as so the objective of the game is like you're going through each level as a different member of the Bloodsucker Anti-Terror Squad, and like the first level is you're a vampire, and you can obviously like teleport through people. You can attack them from behind, and then of course you can pick up blood. It's kind of like your meter that fills up. There's something about the way the game controls. It just feels stiff. It doesn't feel good to play as much as I would have liked to play it. I was hoping it was more of like a straight ahead, just kind of like 2D platformer action game, and it feels more like there's a lot of mechanics that it's trying to do that just don't feel great. So I was a little disappointed in that one. Another company that I play a game from, I feel like every week, is East Asia Soft, and their game this week on Xbox was Crazy Gravity. It's a pretty standard level by level platformer where when you jump into the gravity well, it flips the gravity. It also flips your controls, so like back goes forward, forward goes back, that kind of deal. So it's just a matter of getting through the level, collecting the item, and getting to the exit. It's another one of those. Sheepo is a Metroidvania. It's actually really well done. I'm not a big fan of the art style. I don't. It feels very bland. It almost feels like it's like a budget store Ori. Like it feels like it wants to be that, and it just. But like the controls feel really good. I did like the mechanics that are in the game. I just couldn't get past the look. Silver Chains is a first-person horror game. You've played one of those. You've played a billion of those. They are what they are. Toy Soldiers HD, if you remember old Toy Soldiers. Like, I'd forgotten kind of what that game was until I bounced back into this one. Honestly, they call it Toy Soldiers HD, but it looks like I remember it. So, maybe the old version is a lot more blurry, but this one is definitely not as crisp as you would hope it would be in 2021. But that game is still fun. It's an interesting mix of like tower defense versus RTS stuff. So it was fun to kind of go back in, and remember how neat that idea was. It's weird to go into that game knowing that was like a Ubisoft jam, and like you see no Ubisoft here because obviously they didn't publish this one. But it's a cool game. I did play a little bit more of that Aeon Must Die, which is that I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. That game that has the really really cool art style, but had like the developer stole, or what was it?
Yeah, the developer basically stole the game from the people making it.
Yeah.
And they are now making their own game that looks a lot like it because they're the ones that made Aeon Must Die.
So Aeon Must Die is a tale of two games. Visually, that is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Like the animation reminds me of like old MTV late night animation, really like overly animated kind of stuff. But man, playing it is just not very fun. It's very stiff. Like the combos don't feel good to do. Like the timing on some of the parries, just like it's not hard. It just doesn't feel right. So,
I'm going to assume that is because I think it's like one person that was just kind of like siphoning off assets, but I could have that wrong. It's a mess. Like I've now tried to read into this once when I heard it originally, once when they announced it, and now that the game is out, I've also gone back. I'm still not sure who took what because they named these. I mean, I'm just gonna call them. They named the players in the situation off, but like I don't know who these people are, so it means nothing to me. You have to specify what position. If you're going to use names, is this a person that I'm supposed to root for from your point of view, or is this someone that I'm supposed to dislike? Because it's like they've muddled their story, and I'm not saying that their story is wrong. I'm just saying it's confusing to anybody from the outside looking in. I know they're taking it to the legal. But like I don't know exactly who took what, but I'm pretty sure that like Aeon Must Die ended up being like if it's not one person, is a small team that had all these assets from other people that were working on the game previously, and then the publisher owns the title or something like that. It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised when you're like, oh, the game doesn't really live up. Well, it sounds like everybody that was making the game is not attached to the game anymore. So.
Yeah, it's disappointing because when you see it, like when you watch the video of that game being played, it's fucking gorgeous. Like it's some of the best and it's got really good like heavy metal soundtrack. It's like the presentation is really well done. It's got this interesting story. And then you play it, and it's just like, man, this thing just feels stiff and unresponsive, and just it's disappointing. It's very disappointing to play. All right, getting into a little bit of the bigger games. I checked out that Echo Generation that launched on Game Pass this week. I know we've talked about this game a couple times. It's like a very voxel style RPG that's kind of got this real deep Stranger Things like inspiration. And I gotta say, that game is really good. It reminds me of a very simple JRPG, almost with some Earthbound vibes, and it not necessarily in the combat, but more from like the soundtrack mixed with like the themes. Like if like if Netflix was smart, they would have licensed this as a Stranger Things RPG, and it would have killed. Because this game is incredibly well done. The combat is all turn-based. Excuse me. It reminds me of our Earthbound in the fact that like you'll collect these party members, and you start out as this little kid, and then you recruit your sister, and then you recruit your cat who can talk to you, and then you recruit a dog, and like each one of the character has like its own style and classes, and you earn these skill points from comic books, and just like it's so simple but so effective that it just really works. And I love the art style of the game. I think it looks really cool. I love the enemy designs. The soundtrack is just incredible. There's so much I like about this game. I've made it up to, I think I've played about an hour, hour and a half, and I made it up to the first boss of the junkyard. And like there's just so much to like the presentation of this game that sells it. Like the combat, there's nothing fancy about it. Skill system's pretty straightforward. It's one of those RPGs that really like doesn't overdo it with like the XP numbers and the damage numbers. Like your characters start off with like five hit points, and like enemies will do 1 and you'll do 3, and it has like the active time combat to where if you press a button at a specific time when you make your attack, it does more damage. And on the flip side, on defense, you can tap a button to block attacks to take less damage. It's on Game Pass, and if you're into like Stranger Things or simplified JRPGs, I definitely recommend checking it out. I think it's really cool, and I think I'm going to go back and play some more of it.
That was Echo Generation.
Echo Generation, yeah, absolutely. That is a game that you should go check out. It's on Game Pass. I did start the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles, and if that doesn't mean anything to you, then you probably don't want to play this game. It's the next like anime fighting game with crazy story in it. Looks real good. Combat feels good, but I don't have no fucking clue what's going on. And from what I understand, if you've not watched the anime, this story makes no sense to you. But it looks really good. So there is that. Sorry about that. I played a lot of my Switch this week, and I gotta send a shout out to the guys over at New Blood. They sent me the Switch version of Dusk. Now, I've never played Dusk, but Dusk is the game that I should be playing because I am a boomer shooter man. I love my boomer shooters. And Dusk is like... It feels like if that game would have came out during the highlight of like Hexen, Heretic, Doom, Quake, like it would have been talked about the way those games are talked about because it's so good. Like... There is something to be said about a developer that takes the time to make a game work on the Switch, and this game is flawless on the Switch. It runs at 60 frames a second, and it never drops a beat, man. I mean, it feels incredible to play. And doing that on the Switch, I know we joke about it a lot, that is no small feat. Now, granted, Dusk is very much of that era. Like, that was on purpose. They did that on purpose. Like, the enemies are very blocky, and the levels are very much kind of like little mazes that you got to go through to find the key, open the door, kill the enemy kind of deal. The weapons feel like exactly what they are. Kids that grew up playing Doom and Quake and stuff like that, making their own weapons. So, like, there's a dual pump shotgun. There's like a hunting rifle that's like a one-hit kill. There's no reloading. So you're just constantly moving forward and shooting till you run out of ammo. The double barrel shotgun feels amazing. There's like a grenade launcher that you can automatically like detonate by pulling the left trigger after you fire the bullet. The enemies are all very much like if you wanted to play a Halloween themed boomer shooter, like this is the game. A bunch of like cult leaders and scarecrows with shotguns and dudes with like masks and chainsaws. It's like if you took everything you love about those kind of games and put them into one game. That's what Dusk is, and it feels so good. I think I've played it for like 3 hours, and I think I'm almost at the end of episode 1. Because it straight off rips, like the Doom stuff, E1, M1, E1, M2, that kind of deal. I think I'm on E1, M9 right now. And I'm just impressed at how good it runs on Switch. Like, there's a reason why this game took so long to come out, and they've been working on this forever, and people could say, when's Dusk coming to Switch? Because it's been out on PC for like 2 years. But they really took the time to make sure that this game runs incredible on the Switch, and they nailed it. It's 60 FPS, never drops a beat. Feels really good. So, I've been having a ton of fun with that.
That's Dusk.
Dusk. When you pre-order it, you get Dusk 82, which is like an Atari
Top-down shooter.
Yeah, it's like an Atari game, man. I played through like 2 levels though, and I was like, all right, this ain't for me, but I respect the hustle. All right.
You know who does the soundtrack to Dusk?
I do not.
Andrew Hushult. He's the guy that ended up taking over when Mick Gordon failed to produce the soundtrack for Doom Eternal. He's the one that did the soundtrack for the 2 expansions.
Nice. I mean, I can feel it in this game. Like, it's got very much like that atmospheric tone, and then when the song kicks in, when you like get into a battle, it like really pumps you up. Also, much respect to New Blood. This game starts off like you're loading up a DOS prompt, and then it runs through all like the loading of assets like a DOS, and it even makes the sound of like the old hard drive, like while it's doing it. I can't recommend Dusk enough. Like, if you have any love for boomer shooters like that era, you should play this game.
Here's just because I like talking about this guy, because he did like a Doom mod for like the soundtrack where he did it all like in metal. Then he did the music for the Rise of the Triad remake. Then he did music for Brutal Doom, Bombshell, Rad Rogers, Dusk, Quake Champions, Medieval, Wrath, Aeon of Ruin, Proteus, Nightmare Reaper, and then Doom Eternal.
I want you to know that everything you just said right there, like, I love every one of those games.
Like, he's the guy now.
Yeah.
So I loved the original Rise of the Triad. Is the remake any good?
Yeah, it's actually really good. There's only one place to play it, though. It's only on PC.
Yeah.
But I did play through, I think, like 2 episodes of the Rise of the Triad remake, and it very much goes for, like, because if you remember, Rise of the Triad was like there was some like wacky gore in that game, and they definitely capture that.
Yeah, it was a pretty goofy shooter in that time frame, but I loved it. We played the shit out of that game.
Still tons of secrets.
You know what's hilarious? So in Dusk on the Switch, they have like these palettes that you can use to like change the like filter of the game. One of them is Triad 13.
Nice. Yeah, the God mode in Rise of the Triad was the best, because you'd have this like hand out in front of you that you hit people with, and then you would go.
I absolutely adore. Like, I know I keep saying it, but like those boomer shooters, like, I love that era of shooter, and like Dusk has taken me back to that. And what was that game that came out on consoles? It was Ion Fury. That kind of took me back to the Duke Nukem days. Like, I played Proteus recently, and goddamn, that's another one of those that is just, man.
I liked oh god, I can't remember the name of it. There was one that's like, I know you don't like randomly generated stuff, but there was Shadow Warrior, of course, but I fucking cannot remember the name. Strafe.
Oh yeah, Strafe. I remember Strafe.
Strafe is the one.
Great.
Yeah, like those shooters. Like, it's so funny to see people like our age that grew up playing those games now making those games. And
also, it was Strafe.
You're not talking about Strife.
No, Strife is fantastic, but that's a classic. That's a classic. Strafe is like a randomly generated Quake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
Sorry, I misheard you.
There's another one of those games that dropped this week, but it's rogue and random generated. Into the Pit, which is by Humble, I think, and it's kind of like got that heretic hexen thing where like you're using your hands to cast spells and like that
Yep.
that style of shooter. Dusk also definitely references heretic because like when you run into these like cult leader guys, they always like as soon as you walk in the room, they're like heretic and like yelling at you and shit. Like the game was so good. Huge shout out for that game, man. It's so much fun. All right, you ready for the big one?
One more recommendation.
Okay.
Nightmare Reaper.
I don't think
Nightmare
I've played
Reaper's
that
on
one.
PC. That's the one I have. I've played it. It's randomly generated, sort of. But it's, well, I mean, you can start to see, but like you go through like, oh, this is this area first, and the level's going to be somewhat randomly generated. But you can only take a certain amount of weapons forward into the next level.
Interesting.
It's really good, and like it's like in the dreams of this woman that's possibly in an insane asylum. I don't know because I died and I just haven't gone back to it. But it was really awesome. Like some of the weapons that you could get, because like I was like throwing knives. Were like I had a super strong throwing knife, so I was using that because I could just keep picking them up. Oh, it's a fucking great game.
Man, I love those kind of shooters. I could legitimately play those kind of shooters all day. Like I still go back and play Doom 1, Doom 2. I got the Dolby Vision update for my TV this week for Xbox, and I booted up Doom 3 and played through like a half hour of that. Like those are 100% my comfort games. Those are the games that are on my hard drive. Like I've got Ion Fury, Duke 3D, Doom 1, 2, and 3, Quake. Like they're always just on my hard drive, and I just play them. When I get Doom 64 is another one. Just like, and when Dust comes to Xbox, which I saw Dave Oshry on Twitter, he said that was the next version they were porting. I will buy it again and I will play it again because, goddamn, I love those games. All right, embargo is up as of the time this podcast goes live, but I've been playing Guardians of the Galaxy for the past 2.5 weeks. I rolled credits on it. I think it was Monday or Tuesday night, and wrote my review yesterday afternoon. Goddamn, that might be the best Marvel game in a long time. It's really fucking good, and it's such a different game than I think people kind of think it is. And I don't even know where to start. I know I've been talking to you, Anthony, for the last like 2 weeks about how much like every time I play this game, I'm like, God damn, this game is so good. And I think what makes it so good is the fact that whoever developed this game, Eidos Montreal, like the team that built this game, really took the time to make all of the characters in the game really interesting. There's like Mass Effect levels of dialogue. And it kind of, so it is a single player action game with a hint of Telltale in it that really kind of focuses on the story of these characters. And it feels like a season of a TV show where you're going through, like it's a 15-episode TV show series where each episode has them kind of doing a different thing, having a different kind of like problem to solve, all going towards the arc of the end of the game. And there are certainly things that I can't talk about, but for somebody who is a huge Marvel fan, there are so many cameos and hidden Easter eggs and dialogue things that happen in this game that are tied to like other pieces of Marvel lore that like even somebody like myself who is a very casual Marvel fan, like some of them I noticed and some of them I was like, I bet Marvel fans are going to go crazy over this. And there's just something about this game. So to kind of break down what the combat is, it really is kind of like most recently Tales of Arise. And I know when I say that, you're probably like, how the hell is that even possible? So you play a Star-Lord, and you have a melee attack, which is very limited, and then you have your guns, which you can shoot. And the way the combat system works is it's kind of built on like a combo meter. So like as long as you're locked onto an enemy and you're attacking them, you're building up this combo meter. And the combo meter rewards you with XP once the fight is completed. Now, if it was just the melee combat and the shooting, it would be kind of a bland experience. But what this game does is it allows Star-Lord to also control the other people in the combat arena. So, for example, let's say you have Drax, you have Gamora. There are different combat encounters that are going to have different characters, but a lot of times you'll have all four of the people that you can kind of direct. In order to direct them, you like lock onto an enemy, you hold down the left bumper, the game kind of slows down a little bit, and then you pick a character. So, for example, you pick Rocket. And then at the beginning of the game, he has one attack that you can have him do. So once you pick him, you press another face button to have him do that attack. Now, the further you get into the game and you level up your XP and you get these skill points, you unlock new abilities, not only for Star-Lord, but also for the other characters. And then these can do different things. Some of them are crowd control. Some of them are locking enemies in place. Groot has like healing abilities. So like he can heal the team. So the objective is you see these enemies, you're fighting them. Well, what's the best way to handle them? Well, have Groot hold them in place while Rocket does like this AoE effect bomb. And you can just kind of do a bunch of damage to the enemies. And I will say that by the end of the game, between controlling your character, 4 characters, and them each having 4 abilities, and there's also an ultimate ability for everybody. So like they have this super move that they can do. Controlling all of that can get kind of hectic towards the end, but literally as I played through this game, I was like I had it in my head. Like I knew that holding left bumper, picking Rocket, and pressing B did this. And I knew that holding left bumper and pressing A to pick Groot would do this. It just kind of like meshed into my brain over time. One of the biggest things that I did not like is how you perform Star-Lord's abilities. So even up to the end of the game, I was still like messing this up, but he has abilities too, but obviously they're not on the left bumper. Instead, you have to click in the left stick to bring up his abilities, which I did not like. Like that never clicked with me, pun intended. To go back to kind of the Telltale stuff, so this game has a ton of dialogue. You will have conversations in between each chapter. You go back to your ship, at least most of the time you do. And on the ship, you can do things like upgrade your perks. So like there's a perk system. You collect this stuff through the environment, and you use it to buy these perks. And they're all for Star-Lord. They can be anything from like, when you do a perfect dash, you get like a slowdown motion so you can hit enemies. Or like you gain more, or like Star-Lord has this visor. And when you click it on the stick, you can kind of see stuff in the environment, and you can scan it. Well, there's a perk that allows you to see like the hidden currency. So it's stuff like that. There's like 15 of those perks that you can buy throughout the game. I think when I finished the game, I'd had 14 out of 15. There are also costumes that you can find through the environment. They're not done through DLC. So you'll find these little purple loot boxes, and you can pick up a costume for a character. They're all based on different comics series for Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's pretty cool. That's all within the game. That's the other thing to note is this is not Avengers. This is all a single-player game. Go back to the Telltale stuff. There's a ton of dialogue, and there are things that you can do in the game where you can make a choice. Star-Lord is constantly having dialogue choices that he can say. So, like, your squad is arguing with each other. You can side with Gamora on this, or you can side with Rocket, or you can inspire Drax, or this. And any time that there is a important decision, it'll pop up at the top of the screen like, so-and-so was appreciative that you did this. And like in the Telltale games, this stuff comes back later on. So one of the examples I wrote about in my review is there's a character early on that you have an option to save from something. If I save that person from something later in the game, they came back and helped me in a battle. Whereas if I decided not to save them, I would have had to fight that battle. And I'm being very vague because I don't want to spoil anything, because there's a lot of cool characters that are in this game that you talk to and do things for. And when you make these choices, they do come back later on in the game, which I thought was really cool. The characters are also very, very well done. Like, I liked every character, whereas Avengers, Anybody who's played it, you called them like the cheap store version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Guardians of the Galaxy feels more defined. Like, these characters actually feel good. You know, Star-Lord is not Chris Pratt, but he is the character that he is in this game, and I like him. I like Gamora. I like every character in this game. Like,
They're not connected to the MCU, right?
No, this is not
game.
at all. This is like its own thing.
So I could play it even though I haven't watched any of the movies.
Absolutely. Like, this ties nothing into the MCU, but it does tie into Marvel.
Okay, well, that's...
Like, there are things that I knew who these people were, and there were times where I was like, I don't know who this person is. And that's because a lot of my Marvel knowledge comes from the MCU, but you definitely know that none of the stuff in this game is tied to those movies.
Got it.
So, and there's a ton. There's a fuck ton of stuff in this game, and it's so good. It is so good. I couldn't get over how good this game is. Now, like I said, the combat gets a little chaotic towards the end, and one of the things I ran into a lot is this game was very buggy when I was playing through it. So there would be times where an event needed to trigger in order to move forward, and it didn't. Now, granted, loading the last checkpoint, usually you only lose about 30 seconds, but I did have to do that more often than I would have liked. There are times when HUD elements would get stuck on the screen. Now, I've been told all this stuff is fixed in the patch, and since they released the day one patch, I think it's the day one patch is out now, like, I went back and played it, and I did not see this stuff crop up. But I can't go back and replay all 15 hours or however long it took me to beat it to kind of see whenever it happened, because it just was kind of random when it did happen. So I hope a lot of that is fixed now. I did run into a lot of it. Obviously, this being on the new consoles, like, the loading back into the game was no big deal. It does have a timer on the pause screen that tells you since your last save, which is awesome. And you can also save anywhere. So you can just pause the menu, save it, and you're good to go. I feel like this game is easily going to be in my top 10 this year. I really enjoyed it. This is coming from somebody who's not a huge Marvel fan. Like, I like Marvel, but it's not my thing. And I really feel like this is the best Marvel game, to me, since, God, I don't know if I really want to go back this far, but like that Wolverine game on Xbox 360. Like, this is probably my favorite one since that one. And I liked Avengers. It was okay, but it had a ton of problems.
Better than Spider-Man?
Okay, sorry. I always forget about Spider-Man. No, it's not better than Spider-Man. Don't get crazy.
I was going to say, that game is phenomenal, so if it's better than that, that's high.
No. It's definitely not better than that. For some reason, I always, like, don't associate Spider-Man with the MCU, and I think it's because of that licensing shit, and I'm not into the MCU, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. No, Spider-Man is fucking the best Marvel game in a long time, but, like, this game is really good. I can't recommend it enough. I had a ball with it. I played through it entirely, and I couldn't stop wanting to play it the whole time I wasn't playing it. Like, I really enjoyed it. So hopefully people get a chance to check it out. I think it's really good. And this is what I wanted the Avengers to be. Like, this is the game that I wanted the Avengers to be, instead of being a fucking Destiny clone, you know? Anyway, so yeah, that's the big one that I've been talking about, like, vaguely on Twitter. Like, I can't wait to talk about this, can't wait to talk about this. And it's because I'm just so shocked. Like, when they announced this game, I was like, okay, whatever. And then, like, they showed the trailer, I was like, okay. Oh, also, the soundtrack is fucking phenomenal. It's so good. I mean, when you could put Iron Maiden, Rick Astley, and New Kids on the Block on your soundtrack, that's a pretty good soundtrack. And they use it well. They use it well. All right. Let's move on. Oh, I also checked out Riders Republic, which is... You know what? That game is a Ubisoft open world game with bicycles and snowboards, and it's weird, and I kind of like it, and I look forward to playing it this week. What's out this week? Well, Iron Harvest, the Complete Edition. This is for Series X and PS5 games. We got Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which I just talked about. Stubbs the Zombie in Rebel Without a Pulse. Pumpkin Jack is getting a Series X upgrade this week. We've talked about that game a lot. Backbone, which is that anthropomorphic like detective game.
I've heard it's not good.
Oh, well, it's making its way to consoles this week.
So I've heard that the best part of that game is the demo,
Okay.
and that the rest of the game falls apart, and like does not follow what the demo presents.
Okay.
So that it sort of just turns into a walking sim or something like that. Yeah. Here's the first review that popped up on Steam. Unfinished and unsatisfying. There you go.
Ouch. Okay, well, maybe don't buy that this week. Bassmaster Fishing 2022. Black Widow Recharged. Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water. Riders Republic and Roki. I don't know what Roki is. PlayStation 5 is all the same stuff, and also Undernaut's Labyrinth of Yomi. I don't know what that is. And then Tales of Iron Crimson Night Edition. It's out on Friday. Let's pop over to PS4 and Xbox One. Ooh, a lot of shit here. Let's pull this up. I've never had to go into the next page. Usually all of them on one page, unless I went to Switch. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Minecraft Dungeons Ultimate Edition, NASCAR 21 Ignition. The ultimate combo game of all time, Anthony. Neptunia x Sinran Kagura Ninja Wars.
Wow.
Yeah,
Horny meets
that's a
horny
lot of garbage.
for a horny combo. Star Wars Jedi Knight Collection. Star
Horny
Wars
combo. Isn't that what Hardee's was selling for a while?
Oh shit, that's a thick burger. Star Wars Racer and Commando combo. Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town. Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without a Pulse. The I Dream of Stubbs Collector's Edition. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Wraith, The Oblivion Afterlife. Backbone, Bassmaster Fishing, Black Widow, Fatal Frame, Hermitage, Strange Case Files, Riders Republic, Undernaut's Labyrinth of Yomi, Virtual Verse, Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars, Just Die Already. Boy, that game seemed like it was going to be really cool, and it just wasn't. Oh, it disappointed me. Panorama Cotton, PJ Masks, Heroes of the Night, and Tales of Iron. PJ Mask, Heroes of the Night. I almost busted out so Heroes of the Night. I feel like an 80s song or something. I don't know. Oh,
Definitely
shit. Xbox, mostly the same stuff, but we do have Dadish 2, and Death Park 2, whatever those are.
You say Gaddish?
Dadish, Dadish, and Dadish 2.
Okay.
I don't know
Is
what
that
those
about a
are.
radish that's a dad?
God, if it is, I'll play that. Oh, shit.
He's a dad radish.
I want to be a dad radish. Light Fairy Tale Episode 2. And that's all for those. Let's pop over to the Switch. Time for the Switch. Because there's so many games on the Switch. Crossroad Crash. Negative Nancy. Zombo Buster Rising. That's that game I talked about earlier. Gas Guzzlers Extreme. Kathy Rain, Director's Cut.
Kathy Rain.
LOL Surprise Movie Night. Fuck, man.
I'm pretty sure that's based off of those toys, right?
What, there's a toy?
Give me a minute. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, my cousin brought his daughter like
Is
a
it like
couple
is
years
it
ago.
LOL line of games?
So yeah, LOL is this like I'm pretty sure it's like hers was like a ball that you had like you slowly unwrapped layers of a lot of trash, and it was like you got stuff.
Okay.
Dude, I don't fucking know. So, but anyways, it's LOL Surprise is the brand name. I'm not really sure what the toy is because I'm seeing a bunch of dolls, but that's not what she had.
All right. Well, it's a
Um,
video game. So
Now they got a video game.
Guardians of the Galaxy is coming to the Switch. I'd be really interested to see that version. Or is that one a
Yeah.
streaming game?
Yeah, it's a streaming one.
Okay. I can never keep track of which ones are streaming now. Minecraft Dungeons, Shadow Corridor, Time Management Game Collection, Lucid Cycle, Princess Loot Pixel again, Abarinbo, Tingu, and Zombie Nation.
Saw them in concert, 1996.
Oh, holy
With
shit!
Russ Brute.
Oh, fuck! No way! We joke about it every week, right? Switch games are horny, right? You ready for this one? There's a game coming out this week called Booby Hentai.
That is not what it's called.
I swear to God, Ryan. I swear to God. Hold on.
Good. They just finally did away with any pretense.
Hold
They're
on.
just like,
You
know what?
I gotta give you the description. You ready for the description?
Not really, but
Play as the naughty seagull and uncover all the beautiful girls hidden under the balls.
my God.
Oh my
What the hell has
God.
happened over at Nintendo?
Oh my God. This is
I
a
bet
re-
that one doesn't get the Nintendo seal of quality.
So, okay, this is East Asia Soft, and Nintendo Switch is the only console that allows these games with nudity in them. These games do not come to PlayStation or Xbox. This game is called Booby Hentai.
Insane to me.
A classic puzzle arcade game with a little platforming action and hot grills. I think it meant to say girls.
Well, maybe. You don't know.
Aim at the balls, throw your one, and clear the balls by matching 3 colors or more. That's the description for the game.
Okay, so I don't believe you to the point where I'm on East Asia Soft's website, like looking up. And so far, I'm pretty sure you're just making this shit up.
I'm not making it up, Anthony. God, I don't want to Google
They
Booby
have those
Hentai.
games for sure. Like
Definitely
Pretty
don't
girls-
Google that.
I started to type it in. I was like, wait a minute, I should not.
No, you don't want to
type
do that.
this
You're going to
in.
end up on a watch list.
Fuck, I need to find this.
on the watch list.
Hold on, East Asia. Maybe if I look up East Asia Soft.
I don't know that you want to add soft into that.
I know this
I don't
game
know
is...
that makes it any better.
Fuck. Man, I can't Google this. But it is real. It is. I watched the East Asia Soft. What was it? Like their little video of like the games coming soon, and I remember seeing this game and I forgot about it, and now it's coming out this week. Oh, I know how to find it where I won't get in trouble. We'll go to the eShop. It's coming to the eShop, right?
Yeah, but I have it. The only thing that pops up, and it's from them as well, is Hentai versus the.
Son of a bitch. I know this game is real. I know this game is real, Anthony. I know it is.
Where are you? Where do you find your list of upcoming shit?
Game Facts.
Maybe they're lying.
All right, I'll search it on Twitter. I'll take the bullet.
Oh no! Don't do this, Ken.
I'll
Because I already checked the eShop.
Damn it. I know this is
I
real.
just don't believe you. Their website doesn't have it.
It's even got a picture. It's got a hold on. I'm gonna put this in the Discord chat. Just seeing it freaks me out. I can't help it, man. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Do you see the picture?
Yeah, Booble Hentai.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was called too.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it is called
Booble.
Booble. Sorry.
Yeah.
Google.
That'd be why I couldn't fucking find it on maybe that's the reason why I
Booble.
could. Oh, there. Oh, wow. First hit is Booble Hentai on Steam. I click on it. It's like, you need to be logged in to see this. Oh, shit. That's the developer's naughty seagull?
I told you it was real. You didn't believe me.
Why would I?
All right. Not to be.
Hold on, I have to send you the link for Nintendo's.
Nintendo games.
Just click on it.
Whoops.
I can't be found.
Whoops. I love that it's Mario. He's like, I was playing some Booble hentai earlier.
Oh, Wario was mine. Oh, that's great.
I got Wario laying in a seductive pose.
Yeah.
Which just worked
Picking
so
his
well.
nose.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Not to be relevant, but to continue on with the games, the next one's Brain Meltdown into Despair. Pretty sure I just had a brain meltdown. Cape's Escape Game, Fourth Room, Connect Tank, Doctor Who, The Edge of Reality, Dragon Hills, Dusk by Dusk, it's so good. Fatal Frame, Made in the Black Water, Happy Game, Hex Seed, Jigsaw Finale, Jigsaw Fun, Amazing Animals, King Leo, Okinawa Rush, Seto Mairi, The Sokoban, Undernaut's Labyrinth of Yomi, Virtual Verse, Voice of Cards, The Island Dragon Roars, Zumba Aqua, Dollhouse, Halloween Snowball Bubble.
Say what?
Halloween Snowball Bubble. That's what it's
You
called.
just said 3 words that don't go together.
I know, right? Maybe that's one of them hentai games.
Yeah, maybe we don't want to know what the snowball bubble is.
Yeah, I don't think I want to
I'm
know.
pretty sure, by the way, that stupid game we were just talking about isn't even, like, I'm like, okay, so I need to be logged in. I will go on to Steam, because I'm like, I need to know what type of game this is, which, by the way, Puzzle Bobble is what it looks like.
I just described it with the naughty seagull description.
Yes, but
Whoa.
it doesn't have a page on Steam.
Sorry.
The
I
game's
thought
not
I
going to be
was
able to be
muted.
released anywhere.
Yeah, I know. It's
You were
only.
not muted.
I realize that now. Leave me alone.
Lord. 670 some episodes, ladies and gentlemen.
I stopped caring at 200. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, Guardian of Remembrance, Mario Party Superstars, Panorama Cotton. Oh, it's PJ Masks and Heroes of the Night.
There's 2 Cotton games out then. Or
Yeah,
this
this
is the same one. on
Panorama
another console.
Cotton is like what's that? It's like from behind the back, like Afterburner
okay,
and what's the guy? What's the game?
Space Harrier.
Space Harrier. Yeah. Sorry, I could not remember that name for the life of me. Shinrai Broken Beyond Despair and Tales of Iron. That's your Nintendo Switch games for the week.
Dude, I don't know how that shit gets released on Switch, by the way.
Dude, Switch is the only system. So, you know those waifu games that we've talked about in the past, like the shooters? Those have nudity on the Switch, but they do not on the PlayStation.
That's so weird, because, like, I unfortunately went to the image section. Don't go into the image section on Google.
I don't.
Can't come back. And that's how I found out it's just Puzzle Bobble. But, like, yeah, they're drawn and not particularly good drawings either, but
Yeah, it's there. You know how I figured
I'm just
out?
surprised that can get it, like, I'm assuming that's the reason why it's not on Steam, because I know Steam has weird rules about stuff.
Yeah, you know the only reason that I found out that you couldn't release those on PlayStation, but they're fine on Switch, is there's another game that was in that like little digital event that they had, and there were 2 versions. One was the naughty version, but it was only on Switch, and the other was the clean version that was on PlayStation.
Listen, I'm not judging on what people want to play here. It's just weird
I
that.
am. If you want to play that game, you're weird.
Okay, fair
Okay.
enough.
Alright.
But like, that's not the weirder part to me. I guess is the fact that it's on Switch. That it's okay.
Yeah, Nintendo
That-
just don't give a fuck.
Clearly, I
Nintendo's like, if you want to put it on the
looked at it
eShop,
and went,
I don't care.
not this. They should have looked at it and went, not this shit. Get better drawings at least.
That's the number one reason my son loves to go on the eShop and look for new games. I won't let him on the eShop.
Yeah, I'm blaming.
Yeah.
And this is why. Because this garbage. Whatever. Alright, let's do some news. Man, that might have been the best new releases segment we've ever had. Between Booble Hentai and burping, I think
It wasn't the images from the game that bothered me. It was the other stuff that Google was like, this? And I went, no.
absolutely that. Alright, PS5 has finally
Some
dethroned.
of y'all are nasty. That's just all I have to say. That fucking
Dude, some of the
It's-
stuff I've seen online, I'm like, I don't even know.
I can't bleach my eyes enough
Tell me about it.
to get rid of the memory.
Remember when you thought Two Girls, One Cup was the worst thing you'd ever seen?
I mean, it's still up there, but that is like
But that would be
that's the
like
iceberg that you see. That's the iceberg that you see.
But what's funny about that is like nowadays that would just be like, well, yep, there's another one. Back then it was like, holy cow.
There's another
It was
one.
like, well, there's another one. Y'all are weird.
I never watched it.
I've
I
never seen
just
it.
know of it.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
was
don't
like,
even
Yeah, I'm
wanna-
good.
No, I don't know. Why would you?
Oh, come on, it's fun. You can laugh at it. No.
I would not laugh at that. That is not comedy to me. I'm sorry. The PS5 has finally dethroned the Switch. It's been something like 36 months. The Switch has been the best-selling console in MPD, and the PS5 outsold it this month, so they must have got some stock. Also, I'd imagine Nintendo was like ramping down production of the Switch to go for the OLED Switch. I bet the Switch is number one again next month because of the OLED. We won't bet.
Well, I bet it's number one next month because you can't get the other consoles again.
Well, I mean, we didn't think we could get them in September. People kept saying we couldn't get them. Apparently, there were plenty of them. I don't know. Fortnite, new skins, Chris and Jill from Resident Evil. I mean, what isn't... I think we should just do a segment like, what isn't a Fortnite skin right now?
Yeah.
Because everything is a Fortnite
Ruble
skin.
hentai.
Hey, it's only
Give it
Sunday.
time.
It's only Sunday.
Give it time.
Doom Eternal is getting a new update next week with it, which includes Horde mode. So, there you go.
Horde modes. Am I crazy? I guess it works in Doom. I was gonna say, it's like Horde modes. I feel like are more of a multiplayer thing.
You can do single player Horde mode.
It's not, but Doom's probably the only place where I'm like, yeah, that makes kind of sense because that's kind of what you do in the game, anyways.
I might boot that game back up. I never did finish the second DLC.
Yeah, I have no interest in playing things that are overly difficult.
Yeah, that thing's fucking hard. I ain't gonna lie about that. We can't go an episode without talking about Overwatch, but there is news about Overwatch. Jesse McCree has been renamed. He has a new name. His new name is Cole Cassidy. And that patch
Please
goes-
forget about our indiscretions towards our employees.
Dude, I'm sorry, but I guarantee you people will still call him McCree.
Well, that just did. And somebody pointed out, like, you shouldn't have called it after someone that worked at your business, like, to deify them in the first place. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah,
For sure. But
there's a pro tip for any developers out there.
So
Don't
that
name
patch is-
characters after people that work in your studio, not main ones, anyways.
that patch goes live on Tuesday, and I am super interested because Overwatch is one of those games that's very much like environmental in its storytelling. Like the name McCree has come off of like every other character's, dialogue. He has a belt buckle that says, like, do you know how much work went into changing all that? Like, that's crazy to me. Anyway, new state of play on Wednesday. It's supposedly going to focus on third-party games coming to the PS5. Any predictions for Wednesday? Cool.
I think it's all third-party stuff, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. They've said it's pretty much like third-party stuff.
Yeah, so I don't. It's that makes it harder to predict.
Yeah, like who's due to announce a game or something.
Right.
No, it's all third-party hardware. Mad Catz controllers for everyone.
And maybe we'll get. Have they haven't said who's going to be there, right?
No, they haven't given any companies or anything.
Yeah, I mean the only major third-party stuff, and we've still got a while, is like that. We haven't seen anything yet on Assassin's Creed Infinity.
Yeah, that's
it'd be
mostly
nice
like
to at
aligned
least
with
get some
Xbox, though.
direction. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, could it be time for the Resident Evil 4 remake? Maybe.
Could be, I guess.
Oh god, I hope that's not exclusive.
No, but Sony usually showcases Resident Evil games, and they're never exclusive.
Yeah, but nah.
Maybe a new Final Fantasy 16 trailer? Maybe?
That would be nice. Actually, that wouldn't be surprising at all.
No, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Maybe that rework of that. Do you remember that fucking Platinum game that everybody thought was going to be cool and then looked like shit, and then they're reworking it? Was it Babylon's Fall or something?
Oh yeah. I was like, what, Scalebound?
Because people found found out what that game was. It's like a multiplayer game or something, and like visually it looked kind of like garbage. So I heard they were like reworking it or something.
Multiplayer stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Dude, I
This
don't
is
know.
a studio known for single-player adventure games. Here they are doing a multiplayer game. Could we not? Could we fucking not?
Well, what's the last one they did was that Ninja Turtles game, and that thing was garbage.
To be fair, I don't think Devastation was all that exciting either.
I like Devastation because it was a single player game, but you're right, it had a lot of weird shit in it.
Oh, it's a lot of
You had all those like
similar environments.
well, not just that, but like the like crafting system was kind of fucking lame. You upgrade Optimus Prime's weapon. It's like that motherfucker only has one weapon. Let's just let him shoot it.
Yeah.
All right. Delay watch. We got another one. I mean, we're running out of runway here for games to get delayed into 2022, but we do have one, and it's from Nintendo. Advance Wars 1 and 2 has been delayed into 2022.
That really felt like it ought to have a.
Okay, I was thinking the
No,
exact same
block.
thing, but I was like, that'll just come off as crazy for me.
Oh, that's why I said it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's
Thanks,
the
Ryan.
delay watch 20. So we don't
It's
have a
weird.
we don't have a whole lot of games left.
This one's weird, is it not? Like the
I mean, it's way forward.
I know the game isn't like they just can't be like coat of paint over the original, but like the design decisions have kind of been made. I've seen the game in video form. That it looked fine. Like I'm wondering what's going on to delay it. Not that it's like a long delay, but it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's been delayed to spring of 2022, so it's like just a couple months. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. So, at this point, Halo's not being delayed, right? Right?
I don't think it can.
I don't know that I can say that confidently, but no, I don't think so.
So what else do we have left? We have
Multiplayer, at least, will not be delayed.
Battlefield? Game's out in soon, right?
I was thinking,
Yeah, it's due out pretty soon. Isn't there already a beta running?
Yeah, there's been like 2 betas.
Yeah.
Let's check. Can I find the date on this?
Speaking of betas, did you guys enter for your shot at Elden Ring?
Why the fuck would I? I don't I don't like those games. Sorry, I
looks
just
pretty.
don't.
It looks pretty. I put in for it. I'd like to try it.
I'm looking for the Battlefield release date.
Are we? Wait, sorry, I must have misunderstood. Are we saying what games are actually coming out this year, or that are big, or what games could possibly be delayed still?
I'm looking at what can be delayed. So Battlefield's current release date is November 19th. Forza's not being delayed because that game is done.
Right. They've already got preload up for that.
Yeah, 103 fucking gigs, dude.
Crazy.
Wow, that's a lot of
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially on my tiny little Series X hard drive.
Hey, you can buy a 2 terabyte expansion card now for $400.
Give me a fucking break. Not a chance. I don't like video games that much. I could buy an OLED Switch with that and still have $50 left over.
Right? But you wouldn't have 2 terabytes of NVMe space on that Nintendo Switch.
That's true. I wouldn't, and that's very important considering I play exactly one game at a time and barely that.
At least it's not Call of Duty, because then you might have to buy a card just for that. Call of Duty's not getting delayed. It's out the same day as Forza.
Yeah, Call of Duty's usually pretty good at hitting their dates because there's 1,700 studios working on the game.
The Gunk still claims it's out in 2021. I don't know if I believe that one.
I haven't heard anything on that game since it was announced.
Yeah, we haven't seen one screenshot of it since it was announced. Like, you telling me that's still out this year? Come on. The Jurassic Park game? Maybe that? I don't know. I'm looking at the games that are coming out the rest of the year, and I don't see any other big game. We've named them all. Battlefield.
Like Pokemon's not being moved. And that's kind of the only one I could think of.
Yeah, everything else
big.
I'm looking at on here is like... Yeah, I think it's out. Speaking of what's coming out, they finally announced the release date for Among Us on PlayStation and Xbox. It's coming out December 14th. Does anybody still care?
Kids are still into it.
Well, I'm out of touch on that, so I didn't know. I was legitimately asking.
Same. I've never played it, so.
Like, whatever happened to that other one, Fall Guys? Is that ever coming out to anything else?
Fall Guys, I think, is
It kind of
come
fell
and
off
gone.
the face of the planet. Yeah, the only way I stay connected to any of this stuff is what my kids' friends are interested in, and I still hear them talk about Among Us, although my son doesn't play it. I hear them talk about it in a like pop culture way, not necessarily a what they're playing way. But I haven't heard them talk about Fall Guys since it came out on PlayStation.
Interesting. I know it was supposed to come.
I think, yeah. The big thing there was it came out on PlayStation, and most of them play on Xbox. So it may be popular among kids that aren't my kid, but
I wonder if that comes out on Xbox and hits Game Pass, it'll get like a little bit of a resurgence.
I was going to say, another pro dev tip from a not dev, maybe don't make your multiplayer game one platform when you're not actually working with that platform.
I will never...
Don't let them buy that out.
Like,
that's the dumbest thing you could possibly do nowadays.
Yeah, I don't understand this whole single console thing. Like, but that comment that Jim Ryan made last week, he's like, I want our games to reach 100 million people. I was like, then you're going to have to put them on other shit, fucker. Because you ain't going to reach 100 million people on PlayStation. I mean, you just ain't. And I get why people sign these deals to, like, if they give them, like, development money. Like, we're not going to be able to finish our game. Okay, well, if you only release it on PlayStation, we'll fund it. Okay, I get that. But, like, when you go out there and you pay to keep a game off a console, you're doing nothing but hurting that developer in the long run. Because by the time it comes out on other consoles, it's already been forgotten.
Yeah. Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Final Fantasy VII Remake, like, Persona. Persona would have killed on the Switch.
That I still don't grasp at all. I do not contemplate. Like, I can't contemplate how that doesn't come
Look at
to.
look. Here's a perfect example. Look at Yakuza. Yakuza has been around forever, right? And it was only on PlayStation. As soon as they started moving it to other platforms and allowing it to like be on Game Pass so more people would talk about it, that game blew up. It's just about having more people have access to these games. Like I don't know. I will never understand. Like, if you want games exclusive to your console, build them internally. Build them with your studios. Don't just go out and buy a game.
It's just like with Fall Guys, the reason why it bothers me, and there's a couple others. Although I think, Predator Hunting Grounds was actually paid for by Sony. I want to say.
Well, yeah, that studio, and they they did a follow up to that everybody's already forgot came and went.
Aliens.
No, Aliens wasn't that team. That team made that. Oh fuck. What's the name of that game? It's the arcade, like you're in an arcade, but it's like looks like Fortnite. I gotta find
What'd you
it.
say again?
Give me a second.
Say it one more time.
It's
Ken.
like Fortnite, but it's like looks like you're in an arcade.
Arcade-ageddon.
Arcade-ageddon. I've been emailed about that game 1,000 times from a developer going, "Would you like to try this game out?" I'm like, "No." I guarantee you nobody's playing that game.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's too many of those games out there. I mean, my son and his friends have tried like multiple battle royales, and they always end up sticking with them for like 2 weeks, and then they come back to Fortnite.
Yeah.
Spellbreak was a popular one for a while. I know it's not a battle royale. At least I don't think it is. I think it's more like Overwatch. But my son just started yesterday playing Valorant.
Yeah,
That
I think
was-
that's like a Counter-Strike Overwatch style game.
Yeah, his friend asked him to download it. So that's the new hotness in this house.
So look,
Um,
like Ubisoft's released like 4 of them and announced 2 more, and they've never had a hit battle royale.
yeah, everybody's chasing the same golden goose, and man, that shit's already
Those
there's
games are
already a
in,
market leader.
yeah. There's a game in place that people are just going to play. It's like World of Warcraft. Like Final
Well,
Fantasy
yeah,
was
and
the only game that managed to even scratch that.
When you're at the point now where, if nothing else, even if they liked your game better, people have so much money committed to Fortnite at this point.
Yeah.
And skins and all that stuff. Like, you're not going to get them to just give that up to try your game because it plays, 6% better.
Is it just me, or is Wombat sound like he has a lisp when he's talking?
yes. Okay, I do not want to know.
Okay.
But it was like
I think it's
slowly
the, I
turning
think it's
into
the
this.
internet connection, but Wombat, you're like, I don't know why this is happening.
suffering. Succotash.
Sylvester the
I turned
cat
into
over here
Sylvester
talking
the
about
Cat.
They've got
Fortnite.
so much time and money spent.
I was like, okay, it's not just me then. You hear it too, okay.
That's pretty hilarious.
Oh man, it's almost
This
as
may
good
be
as
the
your
one
robot.
episode of this show that I actually listen back to.
I give you the timestamp.
Oh, weird.
I give you the
It's
timestamp.
so-
It's at 1:30, 1:32.
Is it still happening?
No.
No, I don't hear it now. It's weird. Why was it just happening for a minute?
And that usually it's just like you start going but
Yeah, your robot
Yeah,
voice
I
was
don't know,
awesome.
man. That's weird.
But no,
so
you're
weird.
absolutely right. Like if you're releasing a battle royale in 2021, you're out of your freaking mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I know I've said that a bunch of times, and like other people have said, well, Fortnite wasn't the first, but Fortnite also was willing to throw a ton of money behind.
Yeah,
Epic
World of
threw a bunch
Warcraft
of
wasn't
money
first either.
and spent the time to keep the people there. A thing that a lot of others, including the one that really kind of kickstarted it, which people still play PUBG, but it's
Yeah.
like, PUBG, a lot of people were like, when's a new map coming? And Fortnite was like, we've made another deal. Look at the thing that we're adding, and like, here's a we're throwing everybody for a loop because there's something happening in the world right now, and then they came out with a new map, and like they were constantly like adding stuff to that game, and PUBG just couldn't keep up.
Well, and the special events too. I mean, those are. I know we all kind of giggle at them, but dude, my son and his friends.
Those things are huge, dude.
Plan their time around those special events. Like it is legit an event for them.
I mean, they debut movie trailers in Fortnite, for God's sakes.
And like that's yeah. I mean, it's more comedic to me when I see like characters go in and like Jill and Chris that are doing Fortnite dances, and you're like, this is kind of cringy.
Yeah, I mean, they had Carnage doing Fortnite dances, so
yeah, but like it's stuff that keeps people there, which PUBG just did. I'm not going to say PUBG couldn't do it. It's like they didn't do it.
Yeah,
like
the guy that started that left now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Player Unknown left?
Player Unknown left. That's why it's just now called the PUBG universe.
Ah. Yeah.
There's a game coming out that's in the PUBG universe, the Dead Space game.
Yeah, the Dead Space game. Good luck going against Dead Space.
Well, I mean, Dead Space is just a remake, so...
Yeah, but, you know...
Hey, I'm all over that
name.
PUBG Dead Space game because it's the original director of Dead Space, so I'll play the fuck out of that.
I'm just saying, it's one of those things where I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if EA's doing this on purpose.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me.
Spiteful. But, like, yeah, I hate the chasing the dragon thing. Like, then, you know, it's the 4v1, and we had a bunch of those, and we still apparently haven't learned our lesson.
Yeah, the weird thing about the 4v1, though, is, like, there wasn't a hit one. Just apparently a bunch of developers decided they were going to make one of those. And let's be fair, we had that trend a while back, and it didn't exactly catch fire outside of Left 4 Dead.
Like, Evolve was, you know, the beginning of PS4 and Xbox One, and, like... And I'm not saying that game is bad, but it's just, it didn't stick. And it's like, I don't know how many times we can go over the failures of like, oh, I'll be the one. Will you, though?
Yeah, sure you will.
Like, how many people decided that when, not Fortnite, when Overwatch came out, that they were going to have a hero shooter, even though, like, Overwatch, I think, only had a space because Team Fortress 2 is a mess. And then, like, they're like, well, we're going to do it. Yeah? Ask Cliffy B how that went.
The funny thing about Overwatch now is it's been 18 months since the last update.
But it's just like, but no one's now, of course, now no one's trying to do that type of thing.
No, absolutely
There's
not.
a few that stuck with it, and like, you know, they make their money and they still have a fan base, and they're like
that one company
that
like mocks everything, like secretly is keeping tons of players. What's the name of that company? They do Smite. And what's the Overwatch game?
Oh God,
it's free to play and it's basically just Overwatch.
Yeah, you're talking Riot.
No. Riot does League of Legends
and Valorant.
Yeah, this is a different
Valorant's
company.
theirs.
The Smite company. What are they called?
Give me a second. I know who. Hi-Rez.
Hi-Rez. Yeah, they also have a hero shooter. Let's Overwatch. They also have a what's that Rogue company? That thing's doing really well too.
Paladins, by the way.
Paladins is the Overwatch clone. Yeah, you're right.
But it's just like, yeah. I'm so tired of like that crap. Like just, oh, I'll do it and I'll be successful. Like, or the alternative, if I just get 1% of the market, man, that's a terrible business plan.
Yeah,
terrible.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's Intellivision Amico concept. Don't.
Never.
Just get 1% of the casual market. Don't.
I think that should be our new trend. So like we joked about Wombat and two human, two worlds, and then me and Drew in Overwatch. Now it's Anthony who cannot not mention the Amico.
Dude, it's such a fucking every time there's an update, it gets worse, man. I can't. And he's such an asshole. Like he's such an asshole. Like, can anybody like hum something that Tommy Tallarico's done? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I love the soundtrack in Advent Rising.
But it's generic fucking crap. Like, you know,
You and Orson Scott Card are the only two people in the world that give a shit about that game.
I wish you wouldn't put me in the same room with Orson Scott Card.
It's okay. He actually didn't do anything other than like some basic, because that's what you pay for with names like that. It's like when they said that he was part of Shadow Complex. He didn't actually do anything other than some basic world building.
I know.
But anyways, yeah, no, it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's such a nightmare that it's like, and then I'm like, oh, thank God it's died down. And then like, nope, there's another stupid thing there. All the games are being sold as NFTs. Like, oh.
All right.
Grandma's gonna get that.
Next piece of news: Grasshopper Manufacturer was purchased by NetEase.
All right.
Yeah, I saw people freaking out about this. I'm like, do you know who they were owned by when they got sold?
Gung Ho.
Yeah, same.
Puzzles and Dragons people.
Yeah, same kind of company.
Remember that game? I don't remember the name of.
No,
Wow.
well, how could I remember it if you don't even remember the name of it?
It was a free to play game.
That does not help.
It was by Grasshopper, and it was a free to play game.
Okay, I don't know.
So really, narrows it down.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Let It Die.
Oh yeah, the bus station game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was cool looking, but it was not fun.
Well, that was Gung Ho.
Xbox's newest update updates the dashboard to 4K.
Exciting times we live in.
Extremely exciting.
Now count the pixels on you.
Game Pass.
Now watch. There was all these people mad about the fact that it wasn't in 4K before, and now that update's out and nobody will care.
Well, I think the funniest thing I saw was a bunch of people going, "I couldn't tell the difference."
Right? Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, it's just some cleaner bezels, dude. It's cool.
Like my bezel's clean.
Hey, you don't have clean bezels, you got problems.
Talk to a doctor about.
Yeah, you might need to get a
unclean
cream
bezels.
for that or something. Also, Microsoft announced that Game Pass has grown, but it did miss their projections. I think they were projecting like a 42% growth. They only grew 37%. And boy, did this spark up some conversation on the internet.
Game Pass is bad for the game, so you're just gonna fail the fucking. Sony's not gonna fuck you, boys. Please stop.
You don't know that.
Yeah, you don't know
They're
that.
not.
They
Jim
might.
Ryan's not putting out. Come on.
You don't know Jim Ryan?
The way he talks very clearly says he's
You
not
don't
putting
know his
out.
life.
Yeah, you don't know. He might go to all the grifters' houses and be like, "Hey, what's up?"
Like the end of Jay and Silent
Yeah,
Bob's
Jay and Silent Bob, where they go to, "Are you this username?"
One
I
of
don't-
my favorite endings to any movie ever, by the way.
I saw like tweets going out like, "Please don't buy Back for Blood because it's on Game Pass," and I'm just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, who
It
waits?
is weird that Back for Blood is $50 or whatever on other consoles, and then it's just included in Game Pass.
I'd be mad if I'd have paid $50 for that game.
To each their own. It's what you get out of it, right?
Yeah,
But,
sure.
I don't
know.
Growth isn't infinite, that's all I can say. And like right now I don't think there's anything that's being added to Game Pass that people are going to be like, I need to subscribe to Game Pass now.
I mean, Back for Blood
Is-
is probably the biggest push they've had in a while.
Yeah, because Psychonauts wasn't going to set the world on fire as much as that game is.
Halo
Amazing.
will take care. I think that's the other thing is their growth projection was based on the fact that Halo was out by now.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
I mean, you know it's going to grow in December because say what you want about Halo, a shitload of people are going to subscribe to play Halo. So
For sure.
a new Splinter Cell game is supposedly in production at Ubisoft. Of course it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not going to say it to you, Ken, but to whoever started that rumor, fuck off. Shut the fuck up.
I hope it's an open world map Ubisoft game with markers on the map, so everybody.
You know what? If I got to stealth around as Sam Fisher in a big Ubisoft map, I'd be happy.
People would be so pissed.
People are going to be pissed. What? You're not getting a Splinter Cell game you're going to like.
What about that mobile
There,
game
said it.
where like all the characters are in it?
Now, you said mobile, I checked out.
Did y'all watch the Uncharted movie trailer? There was an Uncharted movie trailer.
It exists. There's a movie.
Yeah,
got-
I didn't watch it.
It's got Spider-Man in it. And Dirk Diggler. Spider-Man and Dirk Diggler are Nathan Drake and Sully. I like how...
God love Mark Wahlberg, but I think that's blown Sully casting.
Well, it's better casting than him playing Drake.
Yeah, sure.
That casting is pretty bad. I get that Tom Holland's a big actor right now, but that is bad casting for Nate Drake.
This is my...
I mean, he's just playing Spider-Man.
Flashing back to when I was angry with Chris Pratt, like it's not just Chris Pratt. I mean, it's a bit of Chris Pratt as a person, but it's Hollywood's fault. Like, I'm just tired of the same people and everything. Like, I get you think they're bigger draws, but I hate to tell you this, that a lot of it. Mark Wahlberg, yes. Tom Holland, he's Spider-Man. Like, people want to see Spider-Man, and he's just a really good one of those. Like, it's not the same as, like, The Rock being in a movie. Yeah. It's always irritating when they just are like, we're going to put this person in everything now, so enjoy.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet is going to be in Dune and Willy Wonka's, the movie that no one fucking wants to see, that's a prequel, like how he met the Oompa Loompas. I don't give a shit. He met the Oompa Loompas.
You don't want the lore?
I don't. I don't want the lore. They'll have fucking a montage of the Oompa Loompas and him building the fucking boat for the nightmare sequence. No, I don't want to see any of this. I don't need questions answered. Like, it's enough of this. I don't need every piece of lore to explain everything. I fucking just hate Hollywood.
CD Projekt Red announced that The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk next-gen upgrades are being delayed into 2022. So I guess 2021 is not the year that I play Cyberpunk 2077.
Same. Still sitting on my shelf.
Mine's still installed on my hard drive, and it just sits there.
Yeah, mine's on my external hard drive since it's a PS4 game.
Yeah. GTA Trilogy got a release date November 11th. Also announced at the time, they're splitting up free versions of the game. So if you have PlayStation Now, you get GTA 3. If you have Game Pass, you get GTA San Andreas. One interesting note about this: if you play GTA 3 on PlayStation Now, you get the PS4 version. Not the PS5 version, because PlayStation Now does not have PS5 games.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did. I think it looks good.
I think it looks good too, and especially the fact that they said that they've redone the shooting to be like GTA 5.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the biggest problem with those games, was the shooting was awful.
That's why I quit playing San Andreas, because the controls were so bad on the RC helicopter stage.
Oh, yeah.
I just could not finish that mission because the controls were so fucking bad.
Yeah. So, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's an insta-buy for me.
But what's funny is the one that I'm most looking forward to playing again is the one that's not going to be free anywhere. Because Vice City was my favorite of those three. So
I'm just going to buy it. It's $60 for 3 really good remasters. So, I'll just buy it. And the truth be told, I don't want the PS4 version of GTA 3. I want the next-gen version.
I'll probably end up buying it on Switch.
Oh, God.
I'll take them anywhere. Fuck it.
No.
I mean, I don't give a shit about.
Well, and
drops
from the
or
looks of the graphics, it looks like they're updated for sure, but they're not. It's not like they've rebuilt them to look like GTA 5 or anything.
No. But the big thing for me, though, especially now, why I won't buy things on Switch if there's a other version. Number one is loading time. Loading time on a GTA game on the Switch is going to be fucking terrible.
I'm using
I think
old consoles, so I'm not going to notice a huge difference.
True.
I'm really interested in what the reactions are going to be when that actually comes out and people are playing it, because I think those maps are going to be a lot smaller than people remember.
Yeah, the GTA 3 map is tiny.
No, it's not.
It is by comparison today.
Sure, but it's a lot of cramped spaces, and like you end up having to drive a lot through like a maze, basically. Like, yeah, sure, you don't have the big open areas, but like that's a lot of driving that you have to do in that game. Like, it's bigger than you think. It's just that it's locked off into 3 sections.
Also, I would much rather play that game at 60, and the Switch version ain't gonna be 60. No fucking
That's
way.
true. If they can hold a constant 30, it'll be
I would
better
be
than the originals.
shocked. I would be shocked if
Um,
it holds a constant 30.
Well, I'll find out when people review it. But did you have any issues with the character models?
I mean, they look a little funky in some places, but I mean, those characters
like,
look
oh, they
funky
look-
anyway.
Yeah, that's just it. And some people are like, oh, it always looked realistic. It looked more realistic before, and other people are like, oh, it looked cartoony.
No, it looked like shit.
Yeah,
Like, I love those games. I love those games. They looked like shit.
they look like
But they look
like
like-
absolute shit.
But
Yeah,
I always
they-
thought they were supposed to be like stylized
They were.
realism.
Yeah,
Because-
they were.
You know, I looked at the box covers, and the characters in game looked like the cartoon drawn but realistic proportions people on the covers. Like, I'm not. It's just kind of weird that that's a complaint. Also, here's a thing that no one else is calling out. It's clearly built off of the Xbox versions.
Oh, the trilogy pack or whatever.
Yeah, because if you play the PS2 versions, characters don't move fingers.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure the PC version was like that too, and I don't know if it ever had an official update to add like actual like separate fingers, but they did that for the Xbox versions of the games.
Don't tell the Sony
Not-
fanboys; they'll get mad.
Well, I mean, it's original Xbox, so
Well, but that's Xbox. You don't mix the consoles. Fucking the PlayStation people, anything that was on
Okay,
Xbox, they
I'm
don't
gonna
want.
be honest with you. You tell them, because I don't fucking
I don't want to talk to
or
them.
pay attention to those people.
I
Well,
don't talk to
you
'em.
fucking apparently know more about them than I do, and
I
don't
see them
fucking-
because assholes put their
Block.
shit in my feed, and it drives me
Well,
crazy.
then tell those assholes to not put their shit.
I
in your
mute
feed.
constantly, Anthony. Mute.
Mute and block.
That's right. Get them to fuck out. Because if you're a grown man or woman going online to argue about video games, no. Don't. It's fucking
Anyways,
stupid.
I'm just excited that I get to play as Claude again.
The
He's
worst,
my favorite
the
protagonist.
worst
I,
fucking name for a GTA character. Fucking Claude.
yeah, he's in 2 GTA games, which means he's in more than most characters that you get to play as.
That's fine,
I
but his name is
remember-
Claude.
I remember. So I don't know. There are very few games that I remember anticipating as much as I anticipated GTA 3.
God, you remember how big that
when
game
that was
was when
announced.
we worked?
Like, oh yeah, but I just remember, like, as someone who was really into the first 2 games, the fact that they were making one that was going to be 3D open world was like, I almost couldn't even believe that it was real.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other game I can remember that I was that sort of anticipatory towards was No Mercy on the 64.
Man, GTA 3 it's really cool that I have the memory of working in a video game retail store when that game was like at its height.
Oh yeah, and Halo.
Yeah, just because like you see the like the fervor for those games. It's crazy. That'll never happen again because obviously retail's not as big as it was back then.
Right.
Like a lot of people will buy these games digitally, but man, being in a physical store and just it was to the point where I would guess 90% of the people that came into the store were asking for that game. It was crazy. Anyway, I have one last crazy story. Anthony, do you have anything before I jump into this last one?
I ain't got shit.
All right, dude, I saw this morning, and I was like, there's no way this is real. But this has been corroborated by 3 people.
Oh god, you gotta brace me, because if it's the fucking rumor mill.
Dude, this is... Okay. according to reports, one of Microsoft's upcoming games has been leaked, and it is a Wu-Tang RPG.
Oh, hold on. Wu-Tang as in...
Cash rules
Like-
everything around me.
So like the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes.
Okay.
It's, I got some details if you want them. So,
Island represent, I guess.
this is a third-person fantasy RPG developed by Brass Lion Entertainment that will feature seasonal content and will be a couple dozen hours in length. It is melee combat focused and supports up to 4 players co-op.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't say that I would have ever expected a Wu-Tang Clan RPG. But hey, listen,
Wu-Tang is for the children.
they are.
I mean, I literally thought this was fake. I thought this was a joke. I was like, is it April? But this shit has been corroborated by 3 very well-known people.
I will believe it when I see it.
100%, I'm with you. But
I don't fucking... Here's the thing. Even if I see it, I'll believe it when it's actually out. Because shit like this gets announced and just ends up not working out because the team that has, bought the rights or whatever fucking hit a snag and don't have the money or the time to actually finish the project and blah, blah, blah. To me, this just sounds like, we've been in talks and we're starting it and then we're going to pitch it, but we have to get it out. So this might be happening and blah, blah, blah.
According to this, the Wu-Tang is doing the soundtrack.
Well, I would hope.
You would
That's
hope,
kind
but
of,
it's
yeah.
not necessary, right? I don't know. This rumor just dropped this morning, so you got me, man. All I know is if it's true, that's a hell of a thing. I'd play it.
Well, I mean, listen, the reality is the Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
That's
so.
true. Diversify your bonds. Fuck it.
Old, dirty Chinese restaurant.
Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. Dirk McGurk. But fuck it. I'll play it. I don't care. Third person.
Sure.
Melee focused RPG featuring the Wu-Tang Clan with the soundtrack. Fuck, I'd play that. Especially since it should be in Game Pass, right? Because it's a Microsoft game.
You would think, yep.
So, fuck it, I'll play it. Alright, I got an email from Antonio. He says, any horror movies that you avoided or scared you as a child? I remember avoiding movies like Candyman and the Hellraiser films. The first 2 Pumpkinhead movies terrified me. Unfortunately, the rest of those films used a CG Pumpkinhead, which killed the horror aspect. Now that I think about it, I avoid a lot of paranormal, satanic, and gore porn films. I'm still recovering from watching Hereditary from like 3 years ago. When I was a teen, I took my bike and ran away from home, and when it was night, I biked towards the edge of town, not realizing where I was going, or that the street lights ended at the city limits. All I saw was darkness and noped right back home. So, horror movies.
I've never really been a horror movie person, so I avoid. I've seen a lot of them, and even more thanks to my association with the Boogeyman over the years. And I don't get into those movies at all. So,
as a child, the movie that scared the piss out of me was the original Chucky. There's something about that movie that absolutely terrified me. And I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, I saw Friday the 13th. Like, those didn't really faze me. But something about Chucky, man. That first one.
So I'll instead of a movie, I'll say the scary stories to tell in the dark books.
Oh, fuck.
Scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
So I just bought those recently because, like, I'm the old man now that's trying to capture everything from my youth. So I bought those, and I made sure that I bought the ones with the original illustrations because they've re-released those books with new illustrations in them. And
The illustrations were the scary part.
exactly, like, why would you want those stories without those illustrations, man? So I bought those recently, and I've got all 3 of them sitting on my shelf here, and I've kind of fingered through them, like looking at the pictures. I'm like, God damn, that still brings back nightmares.
Yeah, I'm good without seeing that ever again in my life.
I know it's not a horror movie, but another movie that had something in it that terrified me as a child was The Neverending Story. The Nothing scared
Oh, I
the
thought
piss.
you were going to say the horse sequence.
No, it's The Nothing that scared the piss out of me. I couldn't even like, my parents took me to see it in the theater. I had to turn my head when The Nothing was on screen. I couldn't. But you got to remember, like, that movie came out when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So.
Yeah, but the horse sequence is traumatic.
It's traumatic, but Anthony, I
Pretty
was
sure
like
that's
4
when
or 5. You know, like
I think that's where I check out. I'm like, yeah, we're done.
yeah, like
I
I
can't.
watched it when I was like 4 or 5. So a horse dying, I'm just like, it's a horse. Like as a kid, I didn't care. But that big fucking nothing thing, like with the voice and everything, it scared the piss out of me. I mean, there's not a lot else that scares me. Like, I cried in the movie theater when I went and saw Signs, and I'm pretty sure I was a grown man.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I watched Signs and was fine. I mean, there's creepy stuff. The bathroom sequence in Signs is.
I mean, the birthday
creepy
party
one is-
scene, the fucking
No.
cornfield
The bathroom
scene.
with the knife, with the reflection.
That's not a bathroom; it's a pantry.
But fucking whatever. You know what I mean? It's a door. It's white. It's you. He's looking underneath it. Like,
What's the
it's
tension? It's the tension that Shyamalan builds when he keeps talking to him, and then he like goes to look, and then he doesn't look, and then he goes to look again, and
that's tension. This is my problem with movies. A lot of scary movies like to break the tension with like a jump scare. And to me, that is a cheap way of getting a response. Because it's like the tension of knowing something's going to jump out is completely different than the tension of like whether or not something's there at all. And I know it sounds like it's a very similar thing, but like Signs, for example, the thing doesn't jump out. It's just there.
yeah, it's walking back and forth, which is
And like that is, it's like, is it going to be there still when he looks, and what is it going to be, and all that stuff is more scary to me than just having the door burst open and go blah, blah. Like I hate that shit. That's the reason why like the first 2, and like Drew is the reason why I watched it. The first 2 Paranormal Activity movies are really good because they don't do the jump scares. They just keep building that tension more and more. And that's what I like about in a horror game. Like, I don't like stuff just kind of jumping out of the dark. Like, and probably the reason why I resonated with Resident Evil 2 so much, the remake, was because it's never... Like, the police station is pretty lit up. Like, nothing is super dark in that game. There's a few sections, but it earns them. Like, the tension is just always on. Because as soon as you hear those footsteps, you know he's close. And I love that. That is where I'm like, you know, my hair starts standing on end, my eyes start watering, like, oh, we gotta get out of here, you know? And so, like, that's the stuff I like. And, like, you know, early, I've said it before, but, like, early, like, horror movies, like, I watched The Hitcher fairly young. The original, not the remake, not the sequel. The sequel's bad. The remake might be even worse. It's hard to tell. But Rutger Hauer is scary because he just won't leave C. Thomas Howell alone. And it's like, that is perfect. That's what I love in horror movies. And as much as the director is actually human trash, and you should pirate his movies because he's a criminal. But I mean, do you want me to go into details?
No,
Like,
no, it's fine.
yeah. But do you know what movie I'm about to talk about?
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, yeah, I remember that movie.
Director, yeah, don't look up the director. Just take my word for it. He is human garbage. But like the first two movies, because I won't watch the third one, they're really good at keeping that tension on, and like that, I love that shit. But like early scares, I don't know. I was like really adverse to blood for a long time, so that kind of wrote off all the scary movies.
Those movies back then, though, were not nearly as gory as they are today.
No, and I don't like the gore porn stuff. There's a fun way of doing that type of thing, like Toxic Avenger. Turbo Kid has some gore in it. But when it's like sort of like for comedy, it's schlocky. Like it's still visceral and like fucked up, but like it comes off as like a laugh rather than like horrible violence, human centipede level gross out shit. Like, I'm not into that type of thing. But like, yeah, any blood. Like, I couldn't watch Blade for a while because there's blood in it, which is stupid in hindsight. But like, that was just a thing. I couldn't see my own blood, and now I don't have an issue with blood at all. So, what happened there? But like, yeah, I don't think I can think of any movies that scared me. I know that like James Pond was an early scare for me. I know that sounds stupid.
Okay.
Do you recall how that game starts up?
God, no. That's way
okay.
too
So
long
it's
ago.
the MGM lion, but it's James Pond in the center, and he's smiling and he's cartoon thing. I think he's a fish. I don't fucking know what James Pond is even. I don't give a fuck.
I thought he was a
Anyways,
tadpole.
that's what I thought too, but I don't know. Because the second game's called RoboCod, so I don't fucking know anything about that series. It's whatever. Who gives a shit? It's not a great series. The only one that I'd save in a fire is 3. Anyways, it starts off like the MGM lion, but it's not like a lot of frames of animation. So it's just him, and then it's him roaring, which doesn't sound good on a Genesis chip, and then it's back to normal. And that scared the shit out of me as a kid because I wasn't expecting. It's kind of like a jump scare. And the other thing that bothered me, and it's because we had like a collection of like the Midway Williams arcade games, fucking Sinistar. Those are the things that scared me as a kid. I didn't watch scary movies, but those two things just terrified the shit out of me.
You know what's funny is when I was a kid, I had Yar Kung Fu on the Commodore 64. And I used to make my grandma load it up for me, and I would leave the room because there's this like horrible digitized Bruce Lee scream at the beginning of that game when you first launch it on Commodore, and it used to scare the shit out of me. So I understand where you're coming from.
Oh, there you go.
But I wish I had more movies that like frightened me, especially as a kid. I just never really engaged with them.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Some people just aren't into those kind of movies. I wish Drew was here to talk about it, but I did finally watch Hereditary because everybody had been on my butt to watch that movie, and that is not at all what I expected that movie to be about. And I do have to say that that movie could have been a hell of a lot shorter. Like, the really creepy shit doesn't happen till like the third act, and the third act is like an hour and 30 minutes into that movie, and that movie's like over 2 hours. But when it finally kicks in, it kicks in. That's for damn sure. Holy shit. I have a couple tweets, but I'm having trouble getting Twitter to load. I don't know if it's a Twitter problem or my internet problem. Mookie,
Sounds like your internet problem, because I can load Twitter just fine.
Yeah, like I'm trying to load Twitter on my phone and it's not even refreshing. It's been down for like an hour. But the tweets that I see is Mookie Sensei says Puzzle Quest because I don't have anything to report in my gaming world. I'm working at a law firm sucks the energy out of you. Joseph writes in and says, "Hey guys, couple questions here. You have any favorite games you go back to this time of year? Any other games you know of to get the PT treatment? Demo but no game." I don't have Halloween games. I have Halloween movies, but I don't have games.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think we're in kind of a shitty scenario, especially with, like, this being busy time.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going back to, Ken?
Quake.
Yeah, suppose.
Overwatch.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that doesn't, reviewing games in the busy season doesn't really...
Yeah, it's weird because,
time.
like revisiting games for me, while I talk about liking to do it a lot, I really only do it, like, kind of jumping into them. I very rarely ever play through games in their entirety again. You know, there's exceptions like A Link to the Past and, you know, Super Mario Brothers. Just, I don't know, there's something about replaying those games. But, like, replaying, like, a really scary game, like, I don't know. I don't ever do it.
Yeah, again, I don't like horror stuff, so this time of year is really no different for me.
I can't even, like, I get 2 levels into Splatterhouse now, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm done, yeah.
Yeah, it's not that good.
Yeah. But, like, even Resident Evil 2 or something like that I love, like, I just can't just keep going back to it, I guess.
Do you know that Xbox 360 game goes for a lot of money now?
Well, I mean, it was a really rare game, even though it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Like, you collecting naked pictures of your girlfriend is still the weirdest thing in a video game to me.
Splatterhouse is weird.
That game is a fucking game.
Splatterhouse is kind of a fucked up game.
Yeah,
it
all
fits
of them.
into the canon well. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any sort of... I feel like Christmas is more of a time where I go and revisit stuff.
That's because there's no games coming out that week.
Yeah, that too. But I mean, like, I don't know. I tie more to Christmas time than I do Halloween. So
I mean, my entire gaming life is revisiting old stuff, so I pretty much do that all year round.
To his second question, I don't remember any other games being, like, released as a demo but never actually coming out outside of PT.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are things that made it onto, like, an OPM demo disc or something.
Oh yeah, I'm confident.
Yeah,
I mean, there's at some point. There were so many demos out there in the world at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there had to be something that didn't make it to final.
So that's Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Anthony.
I'm sure there's somebody that has a list of games that have only ever been released as demos.
And we're talking about public demos, not like...
No, I mean public demos. Like, stuff gets out, like,
I mean, I've played fucking the Dreamcast Castlevania. I've seen demos of StarCraft Ghost, you know, like, I've seen games that never made it to final.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, too. Like, I think more importantly is, like, stuff that, like, nothing's going to get the, you're not going to be, like, able to pull them off because nothing's going to be as big as PT. But
No.
I'm sure someone has a list of, like, this was never released and on a demo disc. But then you have to also realize, like, some stuff just doesn't ever make it over to North America, but got released in, like, Europe and stuff, too. So it's like, you know, does that count? I guess, kind of, but the game did get released.
The Home Alone game for PlayStation 2.
Oh god, the Fievel Goes West game for PlayStation 2.
The Back to the Future 2 game for Super Nintendo.
There was supposed to be a Fievel Goes West game on the PlayStation 2.
No.
Oh.
There is a Fievel Goes West game. Oh no, not Fievel Goes West.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was going to say, just an American Tale?
Yes, I believe so. Give me a second. An American Tail, yeah. Fievel Goes West video game. No, that's
Oh,
the. And yeah, sorry,
yeah.
it is. It's American Tail. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Well, I was gonna say
PS2 game.
American Tail. Five Goes West is the sequel to
Right.
American Tail.
Anyways, yeah, American Tail has a PS2 game. It's fucking terrible,
Well,
but it's
I
only
imagine
released in Europe. And like,
it's
so
20 years after that game came out,
yeah, this is the
or
same
movie. I
studio.
mean,
It's the same company that put out a bunch of like shit, like Beverly Hills Cop on PS2.
oh Lord.
Yeah, it's the same company that did all those shit. And it's anyways, but yeah, like there's stuff like that though, where it's like if it gets a demo over here but never gets released, do we count that? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I
I
don't.
cut you off, Ryan. You were gonna say something. I hope you
Well,
remembered.
I cut you off first, so no, I was just gonna say I think so. Another good topic, since that one's kind of short, since we don't really know of anything, is best demo of all time,
Metal
or
Gear
at least
Solid
most
2.
memorable demo. Okay,
Metal Gear
that's
Solid
Ken's
2.
entry.
I know this is a weird one, but it's probably the one that stuck with me the most. Mirror's Edge,
Okay,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a
because
good one.
how do you sell that game to someone when it's so different, other than having people play it? And it's the first level, and it's super different, and it looked like nothing else. And I played that demo a fuck ton.
I couldn't tell you how many
I
times I played the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo.
Yep,
Way too many times.
I'm gonna say. Oddly enough, since we talked about it earlier, the Strife demo was very good, especially when I was poor. And silly as it sounds, Croc
Do do
is a memorable demo for me,
do do
and
do do.
Blasto, another memorable demo for me.
Interesting.
A lot of those PlayStation Magazine demos were like really good.
Somebody, I actually found a thread from a site I won't fucking mention because I hate them. But somebody
And
said
again, just
NBA
Resetera.
Elite. Yeah, that'd be it. Um, but thinking
Speaking of
of,
which, Resetera just got sold, by the way, and
yeah,
Yeah, we talked
for
about that
about $4
last
million.
week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's crazy. If I didn't know mediocrity was worth $4 million, I'd have sold this podcast a long time ago.
we don't have members, so the data's not worth anything.
I guess.
Exactly.
They're still naming stuff that's like stuff that people saw but never really counts. I have one that sort of counts as something that was publicly released as a demo,
Yeah, I
and
think
then
the count here, it has to be something that you were able to play.
because there's stuff that was like, press only, like Mega Man Legends 3, only one person's ever played that. So that doesn't count. Yeah, I know. That's the reason why I bought a 3DS, man.
I loved those first two Mega Man Legends games so much. It still makes me mad that we never got that game.
But people are kind of naming stuff, and I'm like, I don't really think that fits because some of them are games that were canceled after release. Like Please Destroy All Copies, like one of the NBA games, and then from EA, and then what was the Samurai game, Afro Samurai 2, that was canceled after release and stuff. I'm like, that's a very different situation. But I do have one of a demo that is so different from the final game that I would argue is not the same game, and it's of Tonic Trouble.
I remember that
Because
game.
Tonic Trouble plays like Rayman 2. However, at one point, Ubisoft was so certain that like a game with that style control wouldn't work. So they were asking the team that was making it to use tank controls. So picture platforming with tank controls, good times. And
sounds like platforming in Tomb Raider.
Well, that's how they ended up doing platforming in Rascal on PS1.
Oh, that game sucked.
Well, so to sidetrack for a second, the dev, the guy that started Traveler's Tales, John Burton, put up a video of him playing his original build of it. It's not complete. It doesn't use tank controls. He's like, they made me put in tank controls.
That's such a weird, thing to add.
Businessmen that don't play video games don't understand, but they're like, well, these games are popular and this is the control style that they have, so do that.
Yeah, I know.
So anyways, going back to my point, with Rayman 2, Tonic Trouble was originally built with tank controls. And that demo got released, but it was by accident, I'm pretty sure. Earlier builds have made it out officially. The demo that comes on a Rayman 2 PC disc has, I think, the original version of Tonic Trouble with the tank controls. And it's actually a completely different level setup and stuff too. It's super weird that that accidentally made it out, because I don't think it was intentional. But it's a very different game, especially with the tank controls, but also the level setup is different. So I'd say that's kind of a game that never got released because they went back and fixed it and changed everything.
Pretty good example.
Yeah, it is interesting thinking about this. And like you said, there's probably a big list of them out there, and I just can't think of any. All right, I did get to Twitter working, but that was literally the only tweets. I don't know what's going on with the internet right now. It's really weird. My Discord is fine. So, that's the important thing. Oh! That is all that I have for this week. Let's close that. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at N4G Podcast. If you want to send us emails, it's podcasts@ztgd.com. You can follow .com. You can follow me on Twitter at ZTGD, Anthony at Complacent Robot, and Ryan at Wombat RP. Phoenix Down, rock and roll in the Diablo 2 sometime. They didn't have one on Friday. I'm assuming they'll be back this week. It's Drew's birthday, so go wish him a happy birthday on Twitter, although by the time you hear this, it will be late. Don't Google Booble Hentai.
Correct.
And I think that's all I got. So unless anybody has anything else, we'll get out of here for now. Peace.
Titan AE on PS1.
Oh, God,
I knew there was one more. That was another one that the demo is the only thing that exists. Good movie. Don't know about the game.
What was it again?
Titan
AE.
Oh.
Remember that movie?
I do.
Back in the days of Iron Giant, Fern Gully.
That's isn't that what's his name's last movie? Dragon's Lair guy.
Don Bluth?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Don Bluth's last movie.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Damn. Way to end it on a sad note. Thanks, Anthony.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Peace, bitches.
Alrighty. And it goes something like this.
Epic fail. Welcome to the N4G podcast.
It's me, Mario.
Zero tolerance.
This is going to be a very interesting episode.
Gather time.
Greetings, programs. I got lost trying to find my way to the secret underground N4G Radio lair.
The Wombat. And
I always live being angry.
Killer Wolverine. Play games, not content. No bad boys allowed.
And then I killed the dragon. 8.0.
Killed the dragon.